was my girl, Lisa Nicole Carson.
Oh, okay. Why the hell did I think it was Yo-Yo?
Because she kind of had a yo-yo like
Does she have
look
the
to her.
long? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a thing for Yo-Yo when I was growing up. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That adds up because Yo-Yo was a Ice Cube find, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like so LA to the core. I was like, wow, if I could get a woman like Yo-Yo when I grow up, I was like,
What
wow.
the
Jason, you remember Lisa Nicole Carson, don't you?
Oh yeah. She was. I had a buddy in college where what was that show? Ally McBeal.
Yeah, she was on
He'd
Hollywood.
watch it every week, and we'd be like, dude, number one, Monday Night Raw was on, and we have like people taking off their clothes and stuff on television, and you're watching Ally McBeal. Like, really? We're like, because that was like peak Attitude Era. And we're like, you're watching Ally McBeal? But then I would see her and be like, okay, if she was the star of the show, I'd get it. But dude, we got Trish Stratus over here. We got all type of stuff going on, and you're watching Ally McBeal.
She looked great in Jason's lyric. No, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, now I'm gonna be, check, like where can I stream that at?
Yeah.
She was greatness on a different
level. Jason Jones of the J Street Vibes podcast.
Yes, sir.
With us here, of
We
course.
have late recording the damn
the
thing.
professor. Oh, you got to do 10 a week. Those are the rules. The professor, Jason Jones of the Athletic, with us. What'd the Lady of Rage do for you? You know what? Never mind.
What was Friday? What was her name next Friday? No, that wasn't Lady.
That wasn't Rage.
That was
That was Rage in Friday after and next
yeah,
Friday.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, who like Mike Epps.
That was her cousin, Baby D. That was Baby D.
Baby D.
That was Rage for
real?
real?
Yeah.
Wow, you just now realized that?
No, I don't think I knew that was her.
Yeah, Baby D.
See, when she changed the hair, people would be all confused. But yeah, that was
I don't think I've seen her with anything but the rough and tough.
She might have had puffs in the movie. I don't remember. Yeah, that was Baby D.
I just assumed she was gone. Like Death Row over. Like it's all.
I saw Rage in concert earlier this year.
That's a hell of a sentence.
The back on Death Row tour, I had floors. I had floor seats. It was Snoop, the East Siders, Dog Pound. I was in 90s Long Beach heaven.
How high were you?
Very high.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way.
I had a custom Snoop Dogg jersey on. I was floating.
I believe.
Floating.
I was like, I mean, on a different level. If they were here, I was gone.
R.I.P. to Hurricane G. I heard she passed away the other day.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, she did.
Sucks.
Jay, let's get into the game last night.
2 minutes.
2 minute. What outside of the obvious? What do the Kings have to clean up about their late game execute? Like what stood out to you the most besides obviously the Kevin Huerter missed foul?
It's just the details. It's just the little things. It's like recognizing that Steph is cooking, and hey, maybe we should get the ball out of his hands. Or okay, you give the foul, the shot clock is off. Remember that you got to foul right away.
Yeah,
because even if you're down 3. What you do with 6 seconds to play is much different than 1.3. So, I mean, it's the details. It's the little things. I mean, you did everything right for like 80% of that game. And then, you withstood the first run in the third quarter. You knew they were going to come back again. You knew they're going to be desperate. They've been struggling. They're back. They were going to come back and try to, stuff wasn't going to go out quietly. So, how do you withstand those moments? What do you do differently? Hey, if you see Kevin Huerter out there on the island and Steph is cooking, help him.
Yeah.
Make somebody else beat you. Make Draymond beat you. Make Clay, who's struggling, beat you. Don't let the guy who's 17 or 24 just keep on going.
Yeah.
And if they call traveling, that would help too. But hey,
that's asking too much.
It's asking a lot. It's We've been talking about this all day, and is it fair to say that they're playing good basketball, even though they're at 3-6 overall? Like it's kind of weird to say that when for me at least to say, yeah, they're playing good basketball. They're 3-6, but if we shorten it up a little bit, what are they won 3 of their last 5 or something like that? 3 of their
I
last
think they're
4.
playing good for stretches. I still, would like to see them continue to tighten up defensively. You know, they're a couple of weird breaks away. I mean, like I said, the way they almost fumbled that Orlando game, again, details late in the game. You're getting trapped. What do? You don't throw the ball back across the court near their rim. It's the details that to me is what is hurting them, because a lot of these games they're playing better than their opponent. I'd say 60% of the game at least.
Yeah.
I mean, they controlled that Miami game. They pretty much ran the Warriors for most of the night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when those little tight moments come up, are you going to make the right decision? I thought De'Aaron did a good job trying to going bucket for bucket with Steph in the fourth. I think they had some answers, but it was just like I said, it's detailed. It's those little things that are going to separate them right now.
Jay, details is a word that's often linked with Mike Brown, and I think Mike has done a pretty amazing job through the course of these 9 games of not worrying about people's feelings and trying to find lineups that work, whether it's work long term or work in this specific game. And we saw it last night when Harrison Barnes didn't see any time in the fourth quarter. We've seen it now for the last 6 quarters that Rashawn Holmes hasn't been on the floor. Do you think, we'll get to Rashawn in a minute. We'll start with Harrison. You think there might be a switch in the starting lineup with Harrison Barnes, and maybe he's better suited coming off the bench for this team?
I just don't know who you switch him with.
Malik? Go De'Aaron, Malik, Herder, Kevin, and Keegan, and then Sabonis. It's small, I guess, but
I guess it's smaller. You're not as solid defensively, but it's not like they're
But I think that's part of the problem is Harrison has been struggling so bad defensively. It might be a wash at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not ready to put Harris on the bench. I think it's still a small sample size. I don't think he'll go score. I mean, I would think he wouldn't go scoreless again anytime soon. So I mean, to me, it's still too small of a sample size to go that route yet. But I do think that Mike has the kind of like the freedom to do that. If he thinks that's the way to go, he'll do it. And it's not crazy to me that you've seen so many different rotations at this point, just because you're still figuring out who's who. You got your core guys that who works well with this group. What do I lose when I say go to a Rashawn versus Shemezi? There's a lot of things you still got to figure out with this group.
Yeah. And Aldrin J took the thoughts right out of my head right here. If I'd probably go start Terence Davis.
Okay.
Start Terence Davis at the 2, 3, or whatever. He's physical enough as a defender to be able to match up with some of these wings and maybe a 3 and still keep Herder guarding a 2 or whatever the case may be. You keep Monk in that position coming off the bench where he's probably going to play 25 to 30 minutes a night anyway. I'd seriously think about that. That's where I'd look to go.
I think Terrence's improvement on the defensive end this year has just been grossly under discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence has been.
I thought he was solid before this year.
Okay.
I thought he was a solid. I thought that's one of the things when they got him that he helped was that even though he's not 6'7", he's got good length and athleticism, and he's tough. And for years, one thing everyone said about the Kings was they weren't tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got some different things you can do, but like I said, it'd be 9 games in. I don't think what we see from them now in terms of the lineup and rotations, what we'll see 10 games from now. I think they're still trying to figure some things out. I mean, there were people who didn't think Terence Davis would be in the rotation, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah,
but I thought maybe I like TD more than other people that did.
Who he kind of reminds me of in that particular role. Once again, not saying that's who he is, but the way he defends in a physical way, the way Jason talks about uses his athleticism, his long wingspan, kind of reminds me a little bit of Marcus Smart. he's not defensive player of the year, but he's a guy that he's not 6'7", but because of his physicality, his wingspan, and his quickness, he could probably guard some small forwards that you wouldn't think traditionally he'd be able to match up against.
And he was used that way when he got here. A lot of times they had to put him on bigger wings just because you had nobody out there who could do it. So I mean, they've got some options. I just don't see them going away from Harrison anytime soon. I think he's got a long enough track record in the league where they're going to give him every chance to, figure stuff out and see can he get himself rolling again. But kudos to the coach for not being one of those. He's my vet. I got to keep him in the game because he's my vet.
Yeah.
He said, hey, you don't have, and we've seen him do it with multiple guys. Keegan didn't have it the other night on the road. Keegan sat. He's not playing that game of, well, okay, I guess I got to go. No, I don't have to go back to you. I think right now, outside of Fox and Sabonis, I don't see a guy where I could see Mike saying he has to be in if he's not clicking.
What do you see different with De'Aaron so far?
He's imposing his will on the game every game. You're not having these games where you watch for 25, 30 minutes and wonder where's De'Aaron Fox. He's imposing his will. He's and that's been what every coach has always begged him to do. Just even if you go 6-18, we need you attacking. I mean, the free throws the shot looks good. The free throws are going in. I really, there's not much you can really nitpick at him right now. I think he's doing everything you could ask him to do at this stage of the season. I think it's big that he started well, because one of the problems that they've had with De'Aaron is that he hadn't been he wasn't a fast starter. And not to say that it wouldn't have happened anyway, but the moment he came out last season and was just so sluggish to start the year, I said, Luke's getting fired very soon. There's no way they can win if he's playing like this. And, and to see him come in shape and committed and dedicated the way he did, we all heard a story about, the trainer on honeymoon and all that. I don't know if I'd have went that far.
Man, have a honeymoon, for goodness sakes. Like, let the man live. Jeez.
But I'm like, hey, I don't have the money to do that. I'd be looking for a Planet Fitness or something on the honeymoon. I wouldn't be like, hey, let me fly my boy over here. You're gonna work me out in the morning. No. But I mean, but like I said,
we're getting that $9.99 per month training in.
Out there with my, limited amount of weight I can lift and all that, but I've always said, to me, De'Aaron is one of the brightest guys I've ever dealt with in the business. And people forget how young he is too. I said, I knew he'd figure it out. And he's figured out, he's fast, but how do I use my speed to keep you off balance? I don't have to go 100 miles per hour every second of the game. How do I impose my will defensively when they need me to? I mean, when do I make sure I get these other guys involved? I mean, I think we've really started to see his all-around game come together. Obviously, everybody wants it to happen right away, but he's playing. He's playing well. I think I really can't really nitpick him much at all. Even if I wanted to, I really can't.
One of the things, and we talked about it a little bit on the pod, that I liked about De'Aaron last night is he played well. But it wasn't like he went off, but he still was able to get 28. Like that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Looked like his game.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, this is what he does. I'm not saying he's going to average 28, but all right. He was playing. He was De'Aaron Fox. He had 28. He didn't have to go crazy to get that. Nothing like that. He just went out there and played. And I think that's kind of what we've been waiting for. Once again, the specific number of 28 points, it doesn't have to be that. But where you just come into a game and you're getting anywhere between 23 and 30 from De'Aaron. That's what we've been looking for, and that's how he started off the season.
Yeah, because there were times when he was younger where you'd watch a whole game and didn't realize he played.
Right.
And he's too talented, and it was like, De'Aaron, why are you walking? And I would talk to him about it. And, at that point, he's a younger player. He's not really comfortable, say, getting on guys. And, and if they don't run, what am I supposed to do? It's like, you run. And if they don't run, if you do your job, you put the onus on the coaching staff to say, you know what, get these guys off the court, get some guys who want to run with him.
Yeah.
So I think he's seen enough to say, you know what, I know what I have to do. I know what I need to do to help this team win. And like I said, even when he got hurt, in that game, I said he's not a guy who's going to milk an injury. As soon as he can get back, he will. Yeah. Got back, as soon as he could, then a couple of games, a couple of games later, hitting shots from half court. So, yeah. I mean, I think he's. I really can't find any fault with him right now.
Do you think you can keep up like Mike Brown, the coaching staff? Can you keep up something where like Trey Lyles played like 4 minutes last night? And obviously we know what a difficult matchup the Warriors can be for anybody. But he played, I think, like 29 maybe against Orlando. Whatever it was a lot more minutes. Should you be able to expect production from guys like Trey Lyles, Chimezie Metu, even Terence Davis to a certain degree when you're really just, you don't know what you're walking into that particular game if you're a player?
I think it's kind of where they are. I mean, if your main guys are doing their job and you're going to Trey Lyles for 20-something minutes that game, there's a reason you're going to Trey for that particular game. And I think as the season goes on, Trey will know these are going to be my games, or Chimezie will know these are going to be the type of games I'm more likely, the scouting report will say, he'll know going in, hey, this is going to be a matchup for me. If you're playing a bigger team, that's maybe a game where Rashawn or Alex knows they got to be ready because, you're going against the Joker. We need, all hands on deck against the Joker. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think you got to be a pro and be ready, and sometimes the production in those limited minutes isn't necessarily scoring. It just could be like, hey, we need you out here, Trey, because we got to pull their big away from the basket. And so you just kind of know your role, figure it out, accept it, and then you make the best of it.
What do you think about how Sabonis has been playing? You think he's living a little bit on the table? Like he could be doing a little bit more? I know he's been in foul trouble a lot, but I like to think that when he's been able to play, he's been pretty good. But last night he missed some bunnies, and he's not. That's been the story of this season. It feels like kind of not finishing around the basket as much as we would like him to. How do you think he's played so far in these first 9 games?
I think he had a little stretch there when De'Aaron went down to where you saw him be more aggressive. And, now he's the focal point. But, I mean, a lot of times the Warriors are a bad matchup for a lot of bigs. Just because of the way they play, and your boy Draymond can be quite an irritant. And you saw Dray. You kind of saw some of the look at Kenny's face when I said Draymond.
This guy. This Draymond. Just it's crazy.
Yeah, that's my guy. I got a story coming out soon with him. That's my guy now. So
dominoes, right?
Yeah, me and Draymond are besties now. So
he might beat me in dominoes. I beat him in spades, though.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a picture of me and Draymond together and just put it on like all my social medias and tag Kenny every time and be like, "This is my good friend Draymond."
Please do this. Please do this.
I'll Photoshop Kenny into the picture. It'd be Dre. It could be.
Please do this.
Hey,
it's got to be Kenny smiling like, yeah, I get to hang out with Draymond Green.
Draymond could be your friend. You got a lot of friends that we don't fool with.
Oh, damn. Really? I gotta go through my friend. I didn't know we had heat like that, man.
At least one.
Oh, Coffee Boy. Coffee Boy. That's Coffee Boy.
The barista.
The barista. Coffee Boy and Jay. Yeah, that was
wow. Good boy mean if you don't know who Coffee Boy is. That's what we call it.
I'm not in it. I'm not in it.
Jason,
I'm the peacemaker. I'm trying to just.
Sami Zayn. He's like, hey, you're not being very oozy right now, Kenny.
You're really not. You're really not. I'm Snoop in the East Coast, West Coast beat. I'm everybody's friend. I ain't trying to be in this.
Jay about to come on D-Lo and KC with Amin like Snoop and Diddy did the Steve Harvey show together. One day Jason gonna log on and Amin gonna be sitting right next to him. Like come on, guys.
Let's talk it out now. Let's talk it out.
We gotta stop all this. We gotta talk. You know what I mean?
Whose voice was that?
That was old Puff.
Oh, that was old Puff.
When
Got
he'd be, he'd be soft. We just gotta talk about all this.
Yeah, he don't sound like that now.
Now he's
oh my God.
Let's go. Plus, his girl is like half his age. So I mean, he's trying to get that. His energy is trying to, he got that.
he overcompensating. That's all.
Yeah, so, yeah.
He can't keep up with that young girl.
Yeah. He just was trying to remind himself. I was the man in '97. Like, girl, when you was born, when you was 3, I was the man.
Yeah.
When you was 3.
Yeah, he's got to be like 53 now.
He's like 53. Yeah. Like wild times,
He's still 53. I hope I look that good.
Yeah, us average guys couldn't get away with something like that. But that's love. Love can do that.
That's love. That's love.
Love can get a girl the age of his children, and no one blinks.
Man,
not even think twice.
How you feeling about tomorrow's game? We have conflicting feelings headed to that matchup against Cleveland tomorrow.
I think
the return of Luke Walton.
Yeah, we're gonna say hi to my buddy.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
It was a lifelike Luke Walton bobblehead. That's tremendous.
But I mean, I think this is a tough one because pretty much Cleveland has everything you could want. They got size in the front court. They got a dynamic backcourt. I mean, Garland, LeVert, Donovan Mitchell. I mean, they got guys who can defend. They got guys who can score. I mean, you got Kevin Love off the bench. I mean, this is like, who would have ever thought that after all that stuff broke up with Cleveland, Kevin Love would be on the best team of the 3 in 2022.
Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook battling for 6th man of the year.
What a time to be alive. Who would have ever thunk it? But I mean, this is going to be a tough one. I mean, would it shock me if the Kings won? No, because there's games where I think De'Aaron gets up for him. And I think going against Darius, that's going to be, and Donovan from his draft class, a game where I think he'll be ready. Kind of one of my things about De'Aaron, it always was frustrating. It wasn't these games; it was the games against the Dennis Schroeders and those. Yeah. Well, you can't really knock it for Ish Smith is a king killer.
Ish Smith got game. I'm surprised he's been on 20 teams.
Ish Smith's been killing the Kings for over a decade. No matter where you put Ish Smith, he'd be like, "Oh, his coach would be like, you know what? The Kings are in town. Ish, we need you tonight. Go get us 20."
I've been played in 9 games. I don't worry about that.
It's the Kings. You know what to do against those guys. But yeah, I think this is going to be this is going to be a tough one. I think the length that Cleveland has could bother Sabonis. I mean, you got Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, this Cleveland team, I think, I was kind of before the year, like, I don't know what they could be, but I mean, I think we're seeing that 30, 40 games from now, they could still be near the top of the East. I mean, I think they're going to be in the mix, especially when you got James Harden hurt in Philly, whatever Brooklyn. I don't know what Brooklyn is right now.
No one does.
You got Kevin Durant tweeting about, "I'm just happy to be playing hoop." I'm like, oh man, they're over.
It's that bad.
He's like, I overcame an Achilles injury. I'm like, but don't nobody want to hear that. They're like, come on, KD, we want to chip. He's like, I'm just happy to be playing. So yeah, it's going to be some interesting stuff.
You think? Do you think the league got involved with the Ime Udoka stuff? Like Mark Stein wrote something about this. I think it was over the weekend that maybe someone called Brooklyn and was like, hey, y'all need to chill with this Ime Udoka thing.
It wouldn't shock me. I don't know if Adam Silver is as heavy-handed as David Stern was, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think especially when you got the Kyrie thing going on at the same time, it was like, could you at least take care of one of these first?
Yeah.
And I still would not be shocked if Ime ends up there, but I was feeling bad for Ned's PR. Like,
I
was like, man. you could have Kyrie one day, then you have the KD at shoot around where people got mad at KD. They're like, you have an opinion on everything, but you have no opinion.
Yeah.
But KD don't want to end up on one of them memes by Dr. Umar and them. He don't want to end up on one of them memes. So KD, cool. They if you a black media member and you didn't say something about Kyrie, the whole community is coming for you.
Oh, they coming for you now.
It was wrong. The last rant he went on the other day, but I chuckled a little bit, man.
I'm like, and
a wild boy, man.
And his school still ain't open. His school still ain't open. So
wow, boy.
I have an
There's a segment of the audience going right now. What are they talking about?
Just Google it. And then, well, yeah, you know what? Don't. Like, it's cool. Don't. Just leave it. Just leave it.
Yeah, but I mean, this is I mean, I would not be surprised. I mean, the same way the league was looking at Brooklyn, like, y'all really gonna let Kyrie keep this up? I'm pretty sure someone was like, y'all really gonna bring Ime in amidst all this?
See, the thing with Ime Udoka is someone needs to say what the hell happened, or just let him go, because this doesn't have anything to do with the Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
This is Boston. And so you got Matt Barnes jumping off cliffs about what he's heard, and he'd be surprised if he ever coached again, and all these different things. Someone needs to say what the hell happened, because right now it just looks weird. Like, okay, he had a consensual relationship with the subordinate. I get why in a business that's wrong, and I get why Boston felt they need to take the measures that they need to. But every journalist, insider has like inferred like all of these other awful things have happened. Okay, someone needs to say what it is then.
Yeah. We've
Like,
heard he made crude remarks. I'm like, have you been in the locker? Yeah. And then you saw what happened with Jalen.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, you heard you saw what happened with Jalen Rose the other day. He said something, they came right back.
Well, Jalen was stupid. Jalen was talking about Jalen was like, well, you need to say the woman's name. Well, it's like, wait a minute, for what? Like, no, like that doesn't got nothing to do with anything. You don't have to say whose name it. You don't. What happened?
And I think that's the because my thing with it was this: if what he did was worthy of a 1-year suspension, firing, just firing.
Right. Yeah.
I know there's probably legalities in it, and if you fire him, are you firing him for call? I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of other legal stuff gets tied into that. But it's like, if it's worthy of a year, I mean, a year. It's like, what's going in? And I think that's the big thing, because some people are saying, well, he had enough. I can't even call. He had a consensual relationship. Why is it worthy of? Why is that banish him from the league when people have done much worse, so to speak? And so I mean, like you said, the whole no one really knows. I mean, I've heard things that have happened that I can't repeat.
Yeah, we've all heard things.
Yeah. But no one can. All we've seen, I think, that I've seen on the record in print has been there were crude remarks, and people felt uncomfortable, and I understand that when you get into HR, there's things you can and can't say. I get all that, but yeah, it's just, I think what makes it tough. I mean, then you've got the think piece of saying that if you hire Ime Udoka, it's a slap in the face of all women. And then other people saying, well, how do we know that? We don't really know what Ime did. And so I don't know what
That's
the right
why we need to know what happened. Or because if you're fired, or you're banished, or you're banned, or you're suspended from the Celtics, like, that's fine. But now if he's got the opportunity to get another job, and the league is like, hey, hold on here. It's like, no, wait a minute, you hold on. You didn't have nothing to do with this. Yeah. This was the Celtics decision, not the league's decision. Yeah. So now it's getting muddy to me, and it's starting to not make sense.
Yeah, it's getting really muddy, because it's like the league didn't suspend him. So if Brooklyn really wants to hire him, why can't they hire him?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I try to stay clear of it, because I don't need my comments being attacked. And I'm just like, I try to, and I've told people too, because I know Ime a little. I'm kind of like, this is just really uncomfortable. But like you said, the one thing we do know, everyone loves Nia Long.
Yeah, that's at this point,
everybody's shooting their shot.
At this point, it's just best to leave everything that has to do with Brooklyn alone. Just act like the Brooklyn Nets don't even exist at this point.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Ime said, you know what? I'm out of a job, but nah, not this.
Yeah. I'm good. Y'all toxic.
He was like, I know I got my issues, but y'all, no, I'm cool. I'll just go over here. I'll just chill,
Jay, we appreciate you. You going to be at the Golden One Center tomorrow cheering on Luke Walton?
Probably not. What I'll do though, because everyone knows I cape for Luke more than Ken.
Yep.
I got my. If I show up, I'll show up with my cape. I'm gonna show up with my cape. I'll be there, and I'll see. I'll be like, hey Luke, remember? Hey Luke. Who else has a Luke Walton bobblehead besides That's how weird I am. I got Chris Mims back here too. I got Chris. This was like back when post Shaq they were giving out the bobbleheads at Carl's Jr. So yeah, I got like Chris Mim too. So
wow.
I don't even think Bill has Luke Walton.
I got beef with Luke anyway. He's a Padres fan and he made fun of me.
Well, he had to do what he had to do.
Well, it's unfortunate.
I accept it because I was yapping beforehand and then I had to shut up because my franchise humiliated me.
I hate when that happens.
Jason Jones. It happens to both of you a lot.
Yeah,
Jay, we appreciate you, my man. Thanks as always.
All right, catch you next week.